What's up, guys? So today's video, we are going to talk about the first pillar that we cover in our Standout PT program, which is mindset. So specifically, we're going to talk about the difference between having a growth and an ownership mindset and not, and just how you can overcome those two things and how it'll actually affect your business. So one of the most common things that we see with people that come and work with us, they're obviously passionate about upskilling. They want to be the best personal trainers that they can be. And obviously they have their heart in the right spot in terms of they want to get results for their clients. And that's their biggest fuel to showing up day by day. They enroll in all the courses to upskill. They're studying programming, movement, nutrition, maybe even mindset. They're reading personal development books. They're doing all this stuff, but they're still not just seeing the progress that they want to be able to see. Really what that's going to come down to is getting this stuff right. If you don't have a growth and ownership mindset working symbiotically together, you're going to find it a lot more difficult to be successful than it really needs to be. The growth mindset basically means that you don't believe that your qualities that you currently possess are fixed. If you're not good speaking on video, you're not a good writer, you're not very good at programming right now, you don't assign your identity to that. You just think that I just need a little bit of time, I need a little bit of study, and I can get better at that thing. I have the potential to be good at that. The opposite end of that scale is having a fixed mindset where you see their qualities as fixed and they can't be changed. Those who hold a fixed mindset believe that they're either good or bad at something, and they avoid challenges due to fear of difficulty. They give up on stuff and they ignore that useful feedback. Maybe they get a little bit butthurt or offended about it. They don't actually take it on board and think, well, how can I get better from this information? Next is the ownership mindset. So when you have an ownership mindset, you make yourself accountable for what happens. You take responsibility and ask how to improve things rather than shifting blame where things don't go your way. So the opposite of the ownership mindset is the deflective mindset. So let's say you don't have the clients that you want. Maybe it's the gym fault. Maybe they're not giving you enough leads. Maybe your business crashed during COVID in 2020. Maybe we can blame the global pandemic. Maybe it's your client's fault that they're not adhering to the plan. Or maybe all of that is actually down to you and you need to take responsibility for everything across your business and then do your best to overcome each one of those obstacles. So why do we get stuck in this fixed mindset? Why do we avoid the growth mindset? Having a fixed mindset really just relates to the ego. So ego is really described as that voice in your head, the one who puts doubts and fears and worries into your conscious mind. Some thoughts that our ego will tell us is don't do that, it's scary, you might get publicly embarrassed, or if you try that and you fail, you'll look stupid. If you've ever thought about putting up a post and just being I don't really think that I know enough, or one that we get all the time is I don't think I'm good enough to take my business online. Those types of things where you just, really it's about peers. It's never really about the clients. It's actually about what if another personal trainer sees this and thinks that I'm wrong and then I've got to deal with that. Truth is we all have that inner voice. Some of us have just worked out how to deal with it a little bit better than others. So a few examples that you might experience is when you're going through learning and stuff like that, if you see this isn't applicable to me. Maybe you've already done it in this video. You're no, I've got a growth mindset. That's a pretty good sign that you don't. You're not looking for what you could learn in this and how you could develop. Oh, I already know this. Again, exactly the same thing. My PT clients won't use this. It won't matter to them. Okay, you sure? You haven't seen the whole content yet. Maybe you need to unpack that a little bit more. Alternatives, so things that we could look at that are about having a growth mindset. How do I apply this to myself? I've never actually applied this before, despite I know it. This refresher is really valuable. Parts of this might be helpful actually to apply to my personal training clients. Maybe they're scared of trying stuff. They're going to fuck it up. So they're more resistant to new things. Maybe I can teach them the growth mindset and that'll help them develop. So how do we move past this fixed mindset and actually go into a growth mindset? So we use a 4-step method and we just use a few words to identify those. The first is we have the fixed. Identify the fixed language that you're using. Then what we want to do is ask, what am I making this mean? Often we attach meaning that stops us from applying a growth mindset. Typically this will be connected to fear or insecurity or something like that. Then we need to answer the question. Find the story you're telling yourself that's keeping you fixed. Actually find out what's going on. Don't brush it off. Oh, it's just this. Actually get in, figure out what you're actually feeling and what's going on in that moment. And then we need to grow. So consciously choose to change into a growth mindset and identify what that looks like. So here's a walkthrough for example. Identifying your fixed statement would be, I don't promote my PT services online because I'm worried I'll stuff it up. What am I actually making this mean? So ask, answer. If I make a change, I have to leave my comfort zone. Maybe other PTs will see me. Maybe I'll get it wrong and I'll feel like I'm going to look like an idiot. It's going to ruin my career. Then we come back and go, okay, how do I grow from this? My PT skill set sufficient to get me over the first hurdle. It's okay if I'm not perfect straight away, and I'll still be learning as I go. Because if you're able to get results in face-to-face and people ask you questions and you answer them, you're able to do that in the online space as well. You're able to create content, put out videos, whatever it is. There's just something in the back of your head that's frightening the shit out of you. So go through that list of fixed, ask, answer, and then grow. How do you grow from that? So coming back to this ownership side of the mindset. So why do we avoid this ownership mindset? Why does it make it so uncomfortable? Well, it's that word, isn't it? It's uncomfortable. We don't want to be in a position where we have to take responsibility for something that sometimes isn't even your fault, but it's still your responsibility. Sometimes it is your fault, and that's even harder sometimes to swallow. It's like, yeah, I really fucked this up. You can see how these parallels will come together, though. If you're lacking the growth mindset of, if I make a mistake, I can learn and grow, would carry over into the ownership mindset of like, well, I don't want to admit that mistake because that means I'm shit. It doesn't expose a hole that I can fill. It just means that, oh, I'm not very good at this, and that's a real problem. So how do we move from deflective-based mindset into an ownership mindset? Identify what the deflection was. So deflect. Next one's ask, same as before. Why is my ego stepping in right now? What are you protecting yourself from? What are you trying to hide away and not really confront? Then answer that question. Be honest. What feeling are you trying to avoid by taking responsibility? And then own it. Take ownership of the situation. What could you have done differently? And what will you do differently next time to make sure this problem doesn't come up again? For example, I couldn't call my PT client today because my phone was out of battery. Ask, why is my ego stepping in here? Answer, I don't actually feel capable. Okay, own it. What alternative could I have come with that helped me get in touch with that PT client? Next time I'll just log into my laptop, message them on social media, and I'll remember to get a charger and keep it in my car. Cool, you got something important on. Maybe it's your laptop that went flat. You got something important on, you should have a spare charger. It's not like, oh, it's not my fault my laptop went flat and I didn't contact you or I didn't deliver the service that I was supposed to. It's like, no, that's your responsibility to deliver the service you said you would. You should have contingency plans in place to make sure that that happens. So we do have a blog on this as well. If you guys want to head to stcfitlearning.com, we unpack this a little bit further and you can read through these examples and even just start to have a go at this yourself. Start writing down what's 5 times in the last few weeks that you've missed out on the growth mindset. Write it down, go through the process, go through those questions, answer them. How would you put yourself in a growth mindset next time? Then ownership stuff. Where have you dropped the ball lately? Who have you blamed? What circumstance have you blamed on something happening that you could change now? You could go through that question and process and come out the other end of it having owned that situation and give yourself that power back. We also talk about this in episode 122 of the STC Fit Learning podcast. We'll have both the links to this in the notes below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you like the video. Drop us a comment if this resonates for you. If you found yourself in a growth mindset or shifting towards a growth mindset and you found benefit for it, and then ownership as well, whether or not you feel like you're in there and what benefits it's made to your business long term. We'll be back soon.